Hi, my name is Matt. I'm with Lucid Blueprint, and today we're going to talk about what to do when you feel stuck. And there's a really slick question that you can ask yourself that kind of cuts through all the BS and gets you moving. If you're anything like me, you've already done countless hours of research on psychology, self-help, business, religion, spirituality, you name it, all sorts of different things. You've watched hundreds of hours of videos on how to manifest your dream life, but you still don't have that traction, and you don't have the dream life that you're going for, and it doesn't feel like you're on course either. It just kind of feels like you're stuck. You have goals and dreams that you want to achieve, and maybe you've achieved pieces of them, but achieving the whole thing still feels impossible. That might look like you're working in waves. You feel motivated to do something, and maybe you stay up until 3 a.m. doing it, and then a week later, the motivation wears off. Or maybe you take the discipline route, which is better, but still it feels like you're white knuckling yourself through a situation, and it doesn't feel natural, and then you kind of just fall back to the way you were before. And I know these things because I've done them many times. My days used to be filled with doom scrolling and wasting time. The whole time I was telling myself that I would be successful. I was always working on something and I always had a plan, but it was sporadic and it wouldn't work out. There were moments in life where I would focus for long periods of time and things would actually start to work, but it wasn't something that I could hold on to. I used to stay up playing video games and scrolling on my phone until 3 a.m. And then I'd wake up the next day at like 2 p.m. and I would start door dashing to make ends meet. And throughout my whole life, I've always been a night owl, but really I was just wired at night and oversleeping into the day because I was always exhausted. Today, I'm a totally different person. Today, I wake up at 5 a.m. and I couldn't fall back asleep if I tried. And that's great because then I get to crack open a book that I've been reading for about 30 minutes, and then I hop in the shower. And when I'm in the shower, I am like a wide receiver on game day. I cannot wait to get onto the field. I'm thrilled to work on my project, and I'm super grateful that I have 4 hours every morning to do so. I get so much done. My phone's in the other room, and within those 4 hours, I get more done than I used to get done in months. Because instead of me working in waves, manically working on something until 3 a.m. and then burning out and letting it slide for weeks or months, I just have steady energy all day. And through those 4 hours in the morning, I'm able to focus on one task and just keep doing the next step in a mundane but fun way. And I know in my bones that this is the formula for success. So yeah, I wake up at 5 a.m., I go to bed at 9 p.m., and every single hour within my day is spoken for and it's producing multiple ROIs. For example, I am learning another language and I'm outside. So I'm getting sun, anchoring the circadian rhythm throughout the day, and then I'm also learning another language. I work a full-time job and I also work full-time on my business, which is about 4 hours in the morning. It's actually exactly 4 hours in the morning and then 20 hours on the weekend. And then to keep this all moving, I guard my sleep schedule like my life depends on it, and I eat extremely clean. I still have time to exercise 3 days a week, and I make time for friends and family. So how do you do this? How do you become a completely different person? Because that's what we're talking about here. The person that I was and the person that I am now are not the same person. The person that I was, that was not the real me. So how do you make that change? And the answer is so simple. You stop doing the things you know you shouldn't do, and you start doing the things you know you should do. And the question that I asked myself that made this more clear than anything else was, if I don't hate myself, then why do I do things that harm me? And when you ask yourself this question, the next logical thing to say is, well, if I don't hate myself, then I wouldn't do things that harm me. And for me, I reflected and I thought, but I am doing things that harm me. A lot of different things. nothing extreme, but it gets down to like, what sort of soap do you use? Do you know there's all sorts of weird chemicals in it that are messing with your endocrine system? But you do it anyway. Your toothpaste, the water you drink, the food you eat. Like, you know you're eating healthy, but you also know that the strawberries you're eating were doused with pesticides. And this harm was showing up in so many different ways. And there were more important ways too. Like, for example, me staying up until 3 a.m. doom scrolling or playing video games, messing up my circadian rhythm, waking up at 2 p.m. I know all of these things are harmful to me, but yet I'm doing them anyway. So then I realize, then I must hate myself. If I'm doing these things that harm me, then it can't be both. I didn't allow any room for rationalization for, yeah, but well, I'm healing, blah, blah, blah. It was a simple binary, yes or no. And at that moment, I decided I'm done hurting myself. I don't care why I was. I'm simply done doing it. And then I quit everything. No more coffee. No more drinking. No more eating things that I thought were kind of healthy, but I knew weren't. It had a massive effect on my life. I stopped doing all my vices. I just dropped. And this happened over the course of months, and it wasn't perfect, and I'd slip here and slip there, but I always and very easily got right back on the path. The bounce back was immediate. And I realized that, motivation is good sometimes, but as you know, it burns out. Discipline can be good too. It is good, but discipline for discipline's sake just kind of feels unnatural, and like you're pushing for something. And just the fact that you're pushing for something makes it feel like it's not supposed to happen. But when you have clarity, you automatically get motivation and discipline. And it doesn't even feel like either of those things. You just get clear on, if I do this, then I get that. The input and output, the cause and effect is very clear to you. So as I started to eliminate these vices from my life, I noticed that my thoughts became sharper. My energy was steady throughout the entire day. It was really easy for me to get good sleep and wake up feeling rested, which has almost never been the case in my life. It was really easy for me to focus on a single task for an extended period of time. And it's also been really easy for me to perform well at work. And it was easy for me to get that job in the first place. It only took me like 2 weeks of consistent approach. And it wasn't even it wasn't like I was doing this 12 hours a day applying for jobs. It was more like, I think it was like 5 or 6 hours a day applying for jobs, driving for DoorDash in between. And then 2 weeks later, I have the exact job that I want. It was a quick change. So if you want to know how to get unstuck, the answer is simple, and you'll probably just say, yeah, I already knew that. But you have to understand that the difference between knowing something and being something is huge. It's two very different things. So if you want to get unstuck, simply move. If the definition of being stuck is you're not moving, and you want to get unstuck, then move and keep moving and don't stop. Start doing the things you know you should and stop doing the things you know you shouldn't. If you put any more thought into it, that's a form of psychosis. And that's all I got for this video. This is my first video. If you watched through this whole thing, thank you so much. And I'm gonna just keep on creating more. And you're gonna see my backdrop is probably gonna change pretty dramatically. It's green right now and it's gonna be green later, but it'll be a different kind of green. You'll see what I mean when we get there, but this is the beginning.